What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Clutch Crew Sports YouTube channel. My name is Connor, the co-host with the most, and it's been a long time, and I haven't done this for a while, but I'm going to be coming at you guys with a tier list today, ranking the 2022 NFL starting quarterbacks and where I think they fall on the tier list. Like I said, I haven't done one of these in a while. I did used to release these kind of frequently, but sort of kind of ran out of ideas, but the NFL season's coming up, and I've done a quarterback ranking before, so I figure what better time to do a quarterback ranking, especially in the midst of us doing our NFL previews, which if you haven't checked those out yet, then make sure you do check those out on our channel. We've done around a third, close to half of the team so far, so make sure you go and check those out when you can. But yeah, let's just get right into it. And also make sure you check out Zach's been releasing some college football content, previewing each of the major conferences in college football, so make sure you check that out as well. But yeah, let's get right into it. So we have 39 selections here. I tried to, when I was uploading these images, I made my own template here. I was trying to get them to come out in order by division, but unfortunately, as you guys can tell, that didn't really happen, so I'm still going to try and go in division order here a little bit. So, like I said, I've got 39 here. Obviously, there's only 32 starting quarterbacks, so there are some extras for, certain teams that could potentially have more than one starting quarterback throughout the year. There's even one team on here that's got 3 representatives, so definitely going to be an interesting list. We do just have kind of the standard tier list ranking from S through F minus E, obviously. With, S being MVP level, MVP contenders, to, of course, F tier being trashy and needs to be replaced. So, so let's get right into it here. We are going to go by division, starting off with the AFC East. And it does work out that Josh Allen is here first from the Buffalo Bills. And Josh Allen, right off the bat, I'm putting Josh Allen up in the S tier. The guy has taken major steps in his last couple of years. He was a legit MVP candidate last year. The Bills, in my mind, got better. Like, he's going to be a legit MVP candidate this year, too. And who knows, could potentially win a Super Bowl with the Buffalo Bills. The Bills are Super Bowl contenders, and Josh Allen is one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the league right now. And I continue to think he's still going to be one of the best. So moving on now with the Miami Dolphins, and that is going to be, where is he down here? Tua Tonga Viloa. Now, Tua has definitely had some ups and downs in his NFL career so far. He was splitting time with Ryan Fitzpatrick in year 1. Not exactly the greatest year last year either. Also got injured and had to cede some games to Jacoby Brissett. This is definitely going to be make or break it year for Tua. Eric has already done a video on the Miami Dolphins. If you haven't seen that, then check it out, talking about Tua. And I agreed with a lot of what he said about Tua. Like, I personally am just not a huge believer in Tua. I know Dolphins fans really like him. They think people are sleeping on him, which who knows? He could prove us all wrong. But I'm just not a huge believer in Tua, and I'm going to go and stick him down in the C tier. I just don't think he has what it takes to get it done. Like, I wasn't huge on him coming out of college, still not really huge on him. And like I said, this is make it or break it year for Tua. Like, he's got all the weapons around him now. Like, the Dolphins have a pretty stacked offense, and if he doesn't perform this year, then that's going to be it for Tua. And unfortunately, I don't think he's going to live up to those expectations. Moving on to the New England Patriots and Mack Jones. Mack Jones, and he was the front runner for Rookie of the Year for a long time. In the end, it was Ja'Marr Chase that ended up winning Rookie of the Year. Mack Jones, he had a pretty good rookie year. He definitely had the best rookie year out of all the rookie quarterbacks last year. He definitely was more of a game manager than anything else. I mean, especially that one game they won against the Bills, he only threw like 2 passes in the entire game. The Bills were just getting pounded by the Patriots' run game, and it was also really bad weather, so the Patriots just decided to run the ball over and over again, and it worked. So, but definitely, like I said, definitely more of a game manager. I do think he's going to get better. Belichick's not exactly a quarterback magician, but, and the Patriots also lost Josh McDaniels, but I do still think Mac Jones is going to be solid. So I'm going to go ahead and put him up in the B tier. Like I said, I think he'll have a little bit better of a year. He's going to continue to develop. But like I said, at the very least, he's a really good game manager, and the Patriots are going to win games. And in my opinion, I don't think he's going to be the reason they lose games. Like, this is where you kind of make the distinction on this list. Like, I do think there are going to be a couple of games that the Dolphins lose because of Tua. I don't think the Patriots are going to lose any games because of Mack Jones. I think it'll just be because of the rest of their team maybe not being as good as another team. So, Mack Jones we're going to go ahead and put in the B tier. Finally, for the AFC East, we have the New York Jets and Zach Wilson. Now, Wilson had a really bad year. He probably had, I mean, Trey Lance didn't really play hardly at all, so I'm not sure I can really classify him, but him and Justin Fields were definitely fighting for a worst first year. He is on the Jets, so that is holding him back. But this is another guy that I was never really a big believer in. He was a pretty consensus number 2 overall, but despite all the talk and all the hype about the quarterback class last year, really the only one that I actually thought was going to be any good was Trevor Lawrence. Like I said, Mack Jones was good last year, and, Justin Fields and Zach Wilson were kind of up and down, and Trevor Lawrence didn't have a good first year either. So I just really wasn't as big on that class as a lot of other people were, and like I said, Zach Wilson wasn't great last year. I do think it's going to be another rough year. The Jets did get better in the offseason, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to develop too much more. And like I said, I just wasn't big on him to start with, so I don't think he's going to be that great. I'm going to put him in the D tier. I'm going to give him a little bit of slack. Like, he's still young, he can develop, but I'm going to go ahead and put him in the D tier. So moving on to the AFC North, we have Lamar Jackson, former MVP, and Lamar is going to easily go up in the A tier. Now, he's obviously the best dual threat quarterback in the league. I mean, the dude has got unreal moves when it comes to, people always joke that, he's a running back. I mean, he legit could be a running back. He's that good at running the football. His throwing has come a long way. It's still not to where I would particularly like it to be. I do still see him, he can make the deep throws, but I do still see, it's not that he can't make them. It's just, it seems like the Ravens, they really draw up just a lot of short passes for him, and that's all he really does most of the time. The Ravens are a run-heavy offense as well, so, that contributes to why they're not really taking shots all the time. And he can make the deep throws, but really, it's just, Eric talked about this in his preview on the Ravens, it's just the playoff performances by Lamar Jackson. Until he can show me that he can get it done in the playoffs, I'm not going to say he's an S-tier quarterback, but he's definitely, at the very least, A-tier, like a high A-tier quarterback. So Lamar Jackson easily into the A-tier, as much as I don't like him being a Steelers fan. Moving on to the next team in the AFC North, the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Burrow is also going to go in the A tier. He was having a great rookie year until he went down with that ACL tear. Had a great year last year. Took the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl. He's got a great connection with Jamar Chase. The Bengals should be having T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd fully healthy as well next year. And, he's one of the brightest young stars in the league. The Bengals definitely got a good quarterback there. Kind of wish he had been a bust for my selfish likes as a Steelers fan, but Burrow is definitely also going in the A tier. Moving on to the Cleveland Browns now. This is obviously an interesting situation. We'll start with Deshaun Watson. Now, Watson is obviously, we still don't know what his suspension is going to be. I've heard anything from 6 games to a full year. Some people were saying 8 games now. Who knows what's going to happen with him. Regardless, he's going to miss time, and he didn't play all of last year, so I'm just going to hesitantly put him... Can I pick him up? Not C tier. I'm going to hesitantly put him in the B tier, because if he can come back and play at the level that he played when he was in Houston, he's an easy A tier. But I'm going to say that the year off and, more games off are going to make him rusty. And, he'll be showing that rust a little bit, and I'm just going to put him in the B tier. I mean, who knows? He might not even play at all this year, which is the other thing. So this ranking of him could be irrelevant in a couple weeks' time when they decide what his suspension is going to be. But, for right now, I'm going to tentatively put him in the B tier because, like I said, he definitely is a big unknown. Like I said, he could be A tier if he goes back to the way he was before, or he could end up being as low as, C or D if he comes out and is really rusty and doesn't play well. So we'll just go ahead and put him in the B tier for now. Who knows? But the other quarterback for the Cleveland Browns is Jacoby Brissett. He's going to be the one that's going to be... He's definitely going to start some games this year. Don't know how many, but he's going to start at least probably 6 at the very least. And Jacoby Brissett, he's going to go in the D tier. I mean, it seems like everywhere he's gone, he's just really... I'm almost tempted to put him in the F tier, but I don't think he's quite that bad. It's just like he's just been a... He should be a career backup. Everywhere he's been and has been a starter, it seems like he's taken the team down. You know, Miami kind of faltered a bit with him at quarterback. Indianapolis faltered with him at quarterback. I just don't see the Browns being able to do good things with him at quarterback. So, you know, for the Browns' sake, I'm sure they're hoping to get Deshaun Watson back as soon as possible, but they are going to be stuck with this guy for, you know, at least 6 games. So Brissett's going to go in the D tier. Moving on to my favorite team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, Mitchell Trubisky. Now, I really, really wish the Steelers had gone out and signed Jameis Winston or Marcus Mariota and not Mitchell Trubisky. I personally am not a fan of Mitchell Trubisky. I know there's Steelers fans out there that are like trying to be like, oh, you know, Mitchell Trubisky, like, he's really underrated. He's been to a Pro Bowl. Like, he won these games under Matt Nagy, but Eric and I were talking about it, and I definitely think that's more of a case of fan bias, because it's definitely one of those things that when you get a player on your team, it's like, oh, okay, you're more likely to think, oh, you know, he's just been underrated, you know, he's going to do fine here, like, he was just playing on a bad team, blah, blah, which, by the way, that Bears team really wasn't that bad when he was there. I know Matt Nagy wasn't a great coach, but they had a pretty decent team. But I can guarantee you that had he gone somewhere else, all the Steelers fans would be like, oh, haha, those idiots, they took Mitchell Trubisky. How stupid are they? He sucks. So, you know, I don't know. I'm putting him in the D tier. Sorry, Steelers fans, if you want to get mad at me, but I'm not happy with him being on the team. And, you know, I mean, I'm sure even some Bears fans will say that he's underrated, but I don't know. I was right about Sam Darnold, and I think I'm going to be right about Mitchell Trubisky, too. So, Trubisky's going in the D tier. Kenny Pickett. Now, Pickett is obviously a huge unknown because he's a rookie this year. So, I will go ahead. This is kind of going to be what I'm going to do for rookies. I'm going to go ahead and put him in the C tier just because, like, we don't know. I don't know anything about him as a pro quarterback. He was good in college. And he's got a good supporting cast in Pittsburgh, but you never know what those growing pains are going to be in the NFL. Like, chances are, the Steelers still don't know who's going to be the Week 1 starter. It sounds like it might be Trubisky, but who knows? Like, at some point, Kenny Pickett will be getting on the field this year. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in the C tier, like I said. He wasn't high like a lot of people thought the Steelers reached by taking him in the first round, so I'll just, because of that, say I'll put him in the C tier, but I don't know. You know, when I come back and do this at the end of the year, it's probably going to be different, but we'll go ahead and put him in the C tier for now. Moving on to the AFC South, we have the Houston Texans and Davis Mills. Now, Davis Mills, I'm actually going to go ahead and put in the C tier because he actually did some decent things for the Houston Texans. Now, the Houston Texans have one of the worst rosters in the NFL, and the fact that they were able to win any games at all, I mean, like, I know at least one of those wins came with Tyrod Taylor under center, but Davis Mills did a pretty good job playing quarterback. He did the best job that he could with the Texans roster. I definitely don't think he would be a starter on a lot of other teams, but you know, he's better than some people probably give him credit for, so I'll put him in the C tier. Moving on to the Indianapolis Colts, we have Matt Ryan, if I can find him. There's Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, I'm going to go ahead and put up in the B tier. You know, he was a solid starter in Atlanta for years. In my opinion, was definitely not the reason why the Falcons were losing games for the most part. You know, it was more so their defense and other things going on. The Falcons just have a tendency to choke. But I'm going to go ahead and stick Matt Ryan in the B tier. I definitely think he's going to be really solid. He's definitely a huge upgrade over Carson Wentz, in my opinion. And, he's got... The Colts definitely have some questions when it comes to the receiving core, but at least he's going to have Jonathan Taylor behind him, so it's going to take a bit of the pressure off him to perform at a really high level because when they have Taylor back there. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, I am going to put Trevor Lawrence in the C tier. Like I said, he had a pretty rough rookie year. I know the Jaguars were the Jaguars, and for the second year in a row were the worst team in the league. But to me, I just don't really have... I said that Trevor Lawrence was the only one in that class that I actually kind of believed as being, NFL ready and good, but I don't know, man. I just have a feeling about Trevor Lawrence. I don't think that it's going to turn out well for him. I know Zach and Eric might be upset at me for this. They probably think that Trevor Lawrence is going to be a lot better than what I'm predicting here, but I'm going to go ahead and put him in the C tier. I mean, he just needs to show me more. His decision-making was very poor. I know he was in a very toxic environment with Urban Meyer, and, just the Jags were a huge mess last year, so... Who knows? He could prove me wrong this year. New head coach, new weapons, he's getting his buddy ETN back from injury. So who knows what Trevor Lawrence could do? But for right now, I'm going to stick him in the C tier. Moving on to the Tennessee Titans with Ryan Tannehill. I'm going to go ahead. I'm wavering between B and C, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in the B. He's one of your kind of... He's had moments, but really you can attribute a lot of the Titans' success to Derrick Henry. Why is he able to complete these long passes? Well, because Derrick Henry goes out and gets 150 yards, and then they run play action, and guys are wide open because everyone's too worried about Derrick Henry. So, like I said, I'm not a huge believer in Ryan Tannehill, but he has played well, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and put him in the B tier. Although he's definitely, in my opinion, not the answer for the Titans. And the Titans, if I had to guess, are not going to win a Super Bowl with him. So, we'll see. Moving on to the AFC West, the most stacked division in football right now. Starting off with the Denver Broncos, we have Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, I am going to go ahead and put up in the... I'm going to put him in the A tier. I definitely think this is another QB that just was kind of suffering from a bad situation in Seattle. And he's coming here for a fresh start. Russell Wilson, he's still in his prime. He's got this ridiculous ability to make things happen when there's nothing there. He's definitely, I was definitely not a believer in him at the start of his career, but he's definitely proved me wrong over the course of his career, so... I'm going to stick Russell Wilson in the A tier. Moving on to the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure most of you can guess where this is going. S tier for Patrick Mahomes. In my opinion, he's still the best quarterback in the league. It's going to be interesting to watch him this year without his buddy Tyreek Hill, but I don't know, just the things that he's done in his career, he's still the best in my mind. Nothing has really changed my mind to say that Mahomes is not the best quarterback anymore. So easy S tier. Should be fighting with Josh Allen and a couple others for MVP this year once again. Mahomes S tier. Shocker. Moving on to the Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr. Derek Carr, I'm going to put Derek Carr in the A tier. He's a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's... A lot of people like to hate on the Raiders and say that Derek Carr, they should have gotten rid of him a long time ago, but he's definitely a lot better than most people give him credit for. He's, in my opinion, he's the worst out of the AFC West quarterbacks, but when you're the worst out of a division with quarterbacks and you're still in the A tier, I'd say that's pretty good. So, Derek Carr is going to sit in the A tier for me. And finally, the last quarterback in the AFC West, we're going to complete another A tier for Justin Herbert. Him and Burrow are him and Burrow are almost identical in terms of how good they are. I'd give a slight edge to Justin Herbert right now, but it's very slight, very slight. And they've both been outstanding since coming into the league. Both are going to be potential MVP candidates in my mind, especially Justin Herbert. So, good things looking ahead for the Chargers. So that's it for the AFC. Moving on to the NFC, we are going to start with the NFC East, and we have the Chicago Bears, and where is Justin Fields? There he is. Justin Fields. I'm going to go ahead and stick him in the same category with Trevor Lawrence in the C tier. Like, I definitely think he can be better. I wasn't really high on him either. He's obviously in a very terrible situation in Chicago. Like, the O-line is terrible. He's running for his life constantly. They can't get a run game going because the O-line is terrible. The Bears are rebuilding, is all it is. So, Justin Fields is going to go in the C tier. Jared Goff for the Detroit Lions, I'm going to put him also in the C tier. Like, he's just the definition of an average quarterback. Like, you know, playing for Detroit, you're not going to do as good. But, you know, he had some good moments when he was in LA with the Rams. But obviously there's a reason why they traded him. So, yeah, I just kind of think he's just the definition of an average quarterback. So, Jared Goff's going to go in the C tier. Moving on to the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. Hurts, I'm actually going to put in the B tier. Like, I think he's going to be better this year. I think, you know, he's a dual-threat quarterback. He can run the football. Ooh, my battery's running low. 29%. But, yeah, he can run the football. He can throw the football. I think he's going to take another step forward this year. He's got a number one receiver now in A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith is going to keep developing. I definitely think Jalen Hurts is going to take a step forward this year. So I'm going to go ahead and put him in the B tier. Then we have the Washington Commanders with Carson Wentz. Oh, Carson Wentz. I'm going to say I'm going to put Carson Wentz in the F tier. Like, this isn't to say that he's, like, maybe objectively worse than Zach Wilson and Jacoby Brissett and Mitchell Trubisky, but, like, I don't know, man. He just finds a way to lose games. Ever since that, you know, 2017 season, he has just fallen off a cliff. You know, I'm not sure what the Commanders saw in him. Like, to me, he was actively trying to lose games for the Colts last year when I was watching games. Like, the Colts, when they were playing, I think it was the Patriots that they were playing, and they had this good lead on the Patriots. And, you know, all they really had to do was just kind of hand it off to Jonathan Taylor and run down the clock. And then here goes Carson Wentz, like, making horrible throws. He threw an interception. He just making bad decisions all over the place. Like, I don't know. Carson Wentz really is, he needs to go. Like, he needs to go. The fact that he's still a starting quarterback is really questionable to me. So that's the reason why I'm going to put him in the F tier. Sorry, Commanders fans or Carson Wentz fans, if you hate me for that one, but that's where I just think he is. Moving on to the NFC North. I don't know why. Why did I think just... I'm stupid. Okay, I don't know why I had Justin Fields. I don't know. What? I'm mixing the NFC East and the NFC North here. I don't know what I'm doing. So, apologize for that. But back to the NFC East. Dak Prescott. We'll just combine the NFC East and the NFC North, I guess, because I'm stupid and not paying attention. Dak Prescott. We're going to put Dak Prescott in the A tier. You know, I definitely don't think he's as good as Cowboys fans like to say he is, but I definitely think he's better than the tier below him. You know, I just need to see more out of him, like more clutch performances. He needs to get it done in the playoffs if I'm going to put Dak Prescott ever any higher. Like, he's on the low end of the A tier for me. So that's going to be Dak Prescott. Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is going to join Carson Wentz in the F tier. Like, again, another guy that I don't know why the Giants still have him. Like, he has not done anything in his 4 seasons to prove that he is a starting caliber quarterback. Like, I don't know. Daniel Jones he really should have been gone a while ago. He should be gone after this year if the Giants have any sense. And the Giants should be drafting a quarterback this year. So Daniel Jones is going to go in the F tier. Anyway, so that's the NFC East done. Since I was combining the East and the North. Back to the North. Aaron Rodgers. Reigning MVP, S tier. You know, Aaron Rodgers just continues to get it done at his age. Like I said, 2-time reigning MVP now. It's going to be tougher for him this year without Devontae Adams, but he's proven that he can get it done with little to no receiving talent. He can make average receivers look like Pro Bowlers. He's that good. So no surprises there. Aaron Rodgers is in the S tier. Then rounding out the NFC North, we have Kirk Cousins. Now, I know he had a career year last year, and Kirk Cousins, maybe is slightly getting better, but I'm going to stick him in the C tier. Another quarterback I've never been a believer in. I think he's definitely benefited recently in Minnesota with the receiving talent they have. Justin Jefferson has become one of the top receivers in the league. Adam Thielen is still really solid despite his injury problems last year. The Vikings also have Dalvin Cook, who's one of the top running backs in the league. I don't know. Kirk Cousins just doesn't do it for me. I think last year, the year he had was a bit of a fluke, and I think he's going to come back down to earth this year. So C tier for Kirk Cousins. Now moving on to the NFC South. This is where there's going to be a lot of different quarterbacks, should I say. There's actually going to be 7 quarterbacks I'm going to cover in this division. So we'll start with the Falcons. Marcus Mariota. I'm going to put him in the D tier. I think he's a decent quarterback, but he kind of proved in his time with Tennessee that he's not really a starting caliber quarterback. I think he's a good placeholder in Atlanta for right now to, be there while Desmond Ritter continues to develop, but I just don't see Mariota being able to do anything with Atlanta. So I'm going to put him in the D tier. Desmond Ritter, like I said, he's going to fall into this middle category with Kenny Pickett. Someone who I think the Falcons definitely got him later than everyone thought he was going to go in the 3rd round. Like I said, don't know if he's going to start this year or not. It all depends on how the Falcons are doing, really. If they're doing really bad, then he might come in for Mariota, but we'll see. He's a 3rd-round quarterback, so 3rd-round quarterbacks aren't necessarily expected to start in year 1. Not like 1st-round QBs like Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett, like I said, will see the field this year at some point. Ritter, I'm not so sure about. So we're going to put him in the C tier. Then moving on to the Carolina Panthers, I said that one team was going to have 3 quarterbacks on this list. Well, that's going to be the Carolina Panthers. We're going to start with who should be the starter in my mind at Baker Mayfield. And Baker, I'm going to go ahead and put in the C tier. I said I'm not a believer in him either. I think he benefited a lot from a really good running game in Cleveland with Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And, it was one of the Baker's just been so up and down. He had a pretty bad rookie year. Then he came back and actually had a really good year, and then he came back down to earth again and went back to the old Baker Mayfield, the one from his rookie year. So, I don't know. Maybe a change of scenery in Carolina is what he needs, but I'm going to put him in the C tier. Now, his counterpart, Sam Darnold, is going in the F tier. I remember all these Jets fans that were so high on Sam Darnold saying, oh, it's not Sam Darnold, it's Adam Gase, or it's not Sam Darnold, it's blah, blah, blah with the New York Jets. Yeah, the Jets were a dumpster fire, and still, they got better this year, but the Jets were a dumpster fire. Adam Gase was a dumpster fire of a coach. Sam Darnold is also a dumpster fire, and he proved it this past year in Carolina. He just was terrible. I don't see, like I said, if I'm the Panthers, he does not get any playing time this year. If Baker Mayfield gets hurt, I'm going to Matt Corral. I'm giving Matt Corral reps. I'm not giving Sam Darnold any more reps. He's bad. So speaking of Matt Corral, like I said, he's going to fall in this C tier with the other rookie quarterbacks. He got taken in that 3rd round along with Ritter and Malik Willis. I didn't include Malik Willis on this list just because out of all the rookie quarterbacks, he is by far the least likely to start this year because Tannehill is objectively the starter in Tennessee and will be the starter unless he gets hurt. So I did not include Malik Willis on this list for that reason. But yeah, Corral, he's going to go in this C tier with the rest of the rookie quarterbacks. Who knows? Tom Brady with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As much as I don't like him and his whole retirement spiel, I'm going to retire, pulling the new Brett Favre over here. Brady, until Father Time, if ever, catches up to him, he's still in the S tier. He had a fantastic year last year. He broke some records, and, the Buccaneers made it to the playoffs and won the division again. So But as much as I don't like him, I have to put him in the S tier. Final NFC South quarterback Jameis Winston is also going to go down here in the C tier. I mean, I like Jameis Winston, but he's kind of proved now that he just can't get it done. He's like a solid backup quarterback that he could come in and do well for you coming off the bench, but he's not going to be a great starting quarterback. He just hasn't been able to get it done, and he gets hurt too often. That's the other thing. He got hurt last year. He kind of rode the bench a little bit the first year he was in New Orleans, and honestly, he's going to be starting out this year injured as well, so we'll see how it goes with Jameis Winston, but he's going to go in the C tier. Final division in football, the NFC West, starting with the Arizona Cardinals and Kyler Murray. I'm going to put Kyler up in the A tier. He's definitely a very solid quarterback. He just got an extension this offseason. Huge extension. Another dual threat quarterback like Lamar. Kyler Murray, he kind of started to fall off at the end of last year, but I definitely think he's going to bounce back and do well this year. So Kyler Murray in the A tier. And following Kyler Murray in the A tier is going to be Matthew Stafford, the Super Bowl winning Los Angeles Rams. Definitely still a solid quarterback. I knew he was going to be good for the Rams. Some people were trying to say that he wasn't going to be that good, and, even though he was in Detroit, he still wasn't that good. But I knew that he was a really good quarterback. Like, he was just playing in Detroit. So Matthew Stafford is going to go in the A tier. Just realized I have a lot of quarterbacks in the A tier. I'm not sure if that was really something I should have done. Maybe I should have put more in the B tier. I'm just starting to think that right now, that not all these guys are A tier quarterbacks. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take Dak Prescott and Derek Carr and put them down in the B tier. Just because, like I said, I don't like the disparity that I had with the A tier having more than the B tier. That kind of feels not right. So we're going to take my lower-end A-tier quarterbacks, Prescott and Carr, and put them in. They're going to be high-end B-tier quarterbacks. Anyway, moving on to the 49ers, we have Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo. Trey Lance is an unknown. Like I have with the other unknowns, I'm going to put him in the C tier. He's an unknown. I don't think he's going to be that good. Like, I was definitely questioning why the Niners traded up to get him, given that he was already going to be more of a project. I don't have a lot of faith in Trey Lance, but, we'll see. We don't really have much game film on him, so I'll put him in the C tier. Garoppolo is also going to go in the C tier. I mean, he can't, another quarterback that just has been proven he can't get it done. Like, he's not as bad as some of these other quarterbacks. He still has good moments, but he's not going to be the quarterback that's going to lead the Niners to a Super Bowl. And finally, moving down, the last two quarterbacks for the Seahawks, Geno Smith and Drew Lock. And Geno Smith is going in the F tier. Like, it's Geno Smith. Like, I can't believe this guy's still around. I mean, I don't know. I don't even have words for Geno Smith. Like, I can't believe he's still around. Like, he did okay in relief last year, but it's Geno Smith. Like, I don't know what else to say. Drew Lock's going to go in the D tier. Another, not great quarterback. He's maybe still has another year. I'm going to give him the benefit of him being young, that maybe he could slightly get better. But he was also a bit of a train wreck in Denver, so D tier for Drew Lock. So that's going to wrap up this list. Just a quick recap. In the F tier, we have Carson Wentz, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, and Geno Smith. In the D tier, we have Zach Wilson, Jacoby Brissett, Mitchell Trubisky, Marcus Mariota, and Drew Lock. In the C tier, my battery's getting low. In the C tier, we have Tua Tonga Viloa, Kenny Pickett, Davis Mills, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Desmond Ritter, Baker Mayfield, Matt Corral, Jameis Winston, Trey Lance, and Jimmy Garoppolo. In the B tier, we have Mack Jones, Deshaun Watson, Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and Derek Carr. In the A tier, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray, Matthew Stafford. And in the S tier, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady. So that's going to wrap it up for this tier list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications for all of our new content. Like I said, we got the NFL previews going on right now, so you don't want to miss your team when your preview comes out. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my list. I know there's going to be people that are going to disagree with it. That's just how tier list goes. It is just my opinion, guys. You know, everyone has different opinions, so let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Like I said, if you agree or disagree with me. But until then, I will see you guys next time.